Hey there, it's Dylan with Notching Tags, and in this video we're going to talk about the difference between an angled spotting scope versus a straight spotting scope. This is a highly debated topic, so let's break it down. Okay, so the first difference is comfort. An angled spotting scope is just way more comfortable. This is a way more natural position for anybody to look through, whether you're sitting or standing. It's just way more comfortable to look through. When you're looking through a straight spotting scope, and this tripod's as high as I can get it right now. So if this was an angled spotting scope, this would be perfect for me, right? With a straight spotting scope, I can't hardly get it any tripod tall enough for me to look through it, comfortably. So that's the biggest difference. And sitting too, even if I was sitting, I'm going to be kind of neck like this, trying to look through this straight spotting scope. And it's not, I'm exaggerating it, it's not terrible. I'm just saying that it's nowhere near as comfortable to look through as an angled spotting scope. So target acquisition. A straight spotting scope is way faster to find what you're looking for. Okay, because it's like pointing a gun. I mean, you point that spotter at whatever you're looking for, and you can just use your naked eye to line it up, and it's just way faster to find your target. An angled spotting scope, you are looking total opposite of what you actually are trying to find. If you're trying to find something up on a mountain, you're looking down but looking up, and it's just not as fast. Yes, it's more comfortable, but it takes a little practice. It's not the end of the world. It's just not as fast. That's all it is. With some practice, you do get better at it, but there is no arguing that it is faster to find your target with a straight spotting scope. Swapping from your binoculars to a spotting scope. So with an angled spotting scope, if I wanted to swap to my binoculars, every single time I'm going to have to adjust the tripod, because with an angled spotting scope, I'm going to be lower looking down into it. And in order to put my binoculars on here, I'd need to pull this off, raise this up, and set my binoculars on here. So it's not a huge deal. It's just a little more cumbersome, a little more time consuming, and you're doing it every single time you take your binos off and want to switch from one to the other. Versus a straight spotting scope is already in the same position that your binoculars would be. So a lot of times you can just pull your binoculars off as long as your tripod's all locked up. You can pull your binoculars off, slide your spotting scope on, and it's already pointing at your target. Have your spotting scope zoomed all the way out on the lowest power. And like I said, you don't even have to adjust anything. It's already looking at whatever it was you were looking at with your binoculars. Using a spotting scope from a truck. So if you hunt from a truck a lot, then without a doubt, the straight spotting scope is going to be the way to go. Because when you're in a truck and your body's, twisted at an angle, and you're trying to look at a target, a deer, an animal, a target out there, the angled spotting scope really takes a lot of practice, even more so than when it's on a tripod. It's difficult to use an angled spotting scope from a truck. Versus a straight spotting scope, you just mount it on the window, and much like binoculars, you just point it at whatever you're looking at and find it very quickly. So from a truck, without a doubt, it is the straight spotting scope every time. As far as Digi scoping or phone scoping goes, that is going to be a total toss-up, because with the angled spotting scope, your phone, much like how it's comfortable, your phone is at a very user-friendly I mean, look at this, you know, and the cool thing about this too is once you have it all set up, anybody, your friends, whoever, can just walk up and you guys can look at the same thing at the same time. The angled spotting scope is just really nice for phone scoping as far as, again, I guess you'd say comfort goes. But it's slower to find your target, which is less footage that you're going to end up capturing, depending, you know, a lot of times you're in a hurry. So that's the toss-up, is with the straight spotting scope, if I pick up something with my binoculars, especially something worth videoing, I can throw this straight spotting scope on, slap my phone on there, and I'm recording within seconds. I'm not adjusting the tripod, you know, and I'm not trying to find the target again in this angled spotting scope. So, but, you know, now my phone is kind of, you know, not at the best angle. You know, we have to get down here. Again, it's not the end of the world. It's just not, it's not as cush as the angled. And it's just, yeah, it's not as user-friendly, not as comfortable, not in as good of a position, especially if you were looking up. You know, now my phone's down here, so I'm going to be like this, trying to operate this thing. So I think as far as phone scoping goes, I mean, they're a total toss-up, because for me, I really like the ability to get on stuff fast, and that's the straight, you know. But yeah, you can't argue with the comfort of the angled. So the last topic is tripod stability, and I have a whole video on tripods and how to use them and different uses for them. And if you're interested, that'll be the video that you can click on at the end of this video. But as far as tripod stability goes, with an angled spotting scope, you're always going to be set up lower, and the lower your tripod is, the more stable it is every time. So in bad weather conditions, when especially wind, the angled spotting scope is going to be more stable, always. Even when you're sitting, you know, when you're sitting in a sitting position with an angled spotting scope, I mean, that tripod is compact and low to the ground, and it's super stable. So, you know, there you go again. It's like they're just so back and forth. But straight spotting scope, you're going to have your tripod higher no matter what every time, which is less stable. Most of the time it's not the end of the world, but you know, when you need stability, you need stability. Which spotting scope is right for you? Well, I would say this. If you want to stand and glass a lot, and especially if you're tall, then it's going to be the angled spotting scope. If you hunt from a truck a lot, it's the straight spotting scope, 100%. If you hunt from a truck and you want to use your spotting scope on a window mount, it is a straight spotting scope every time. If you are somebody that likes to find a glassing knob and just sit there all day and just pick apart country, and you know that you want to, you know, sit behind that spotting scope for long periods of time, angled spotting scope, 100% angled spotting scope. For me personally, I'm going with the straight. I've been using the angled spotting scope for years now, and this is the first year I'm going to use a straight spotting scope, because I don't sit behind my spotting scope for hours at a time. I simply use it to judge animals and for phone scoping, for recording footage. So I just want to be quick, and I want to be able to see what that animal is and is it worth going after. But I sit behind my binoculars. That's all. I just use my binoculars, and this is just for verifying targets and getting footage. All right, guys, if you like this video, if you thought it brought some value, if it helped you make a decision, hit that like button. It really helps the algorithm, and you know, as far as getting this video out there for more people to see. So thanks for watching. Good luck on your decision.